Our final speaker is Salleigh Grubbs, who is the current chairwoman of the Cobb County Republican Party, the current over 80 chairwoman for the Georgia GOP, and is a candidate for first vice chair of the Georgia GOP. Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, all you wonderful Cherokee County people. You have a lot to pat yourself on the back for. You have done an amazing job, and James has my heart because he is just an amazing man who's done an amazing job leading an amazing team. And, I don't know how he does it. We talk at all times of the day and night. And I don't know how he does it all with his children and his family, but that's an example to follow for so many people is it's not putting the party first, it's putting America first. And James is an America first person. He's a Georgia first person. And so thank you for everything you've done. You're amazing. He says I'm doing okay so far. So my name is Salleigh Grubbs. I hail from Cobb County. Actually, I grew up downtown for many years, but then moved to Bells Ferry Road, so I was very close to Cherokee County. So I can remember the days of going to the Dixie Speedway and getting dirty, muddy feet and spending a Friday night having fun with my friends. And so Cherokee County is very close to my heart. And what I will tell you is you guys have grown like crazy. And I'm glad to see that you finally have a party that can bring in other people. You've done a tremendous job bringing in the newcomers and educating newcomers on what goes on. So just a quick story about how I got involved. I was a member of the Cobb Party for a long time, but not involved until March of 2020 during the height of COVID. And my son and I pay attention a lot to what goes on in world and national events. And when they came up with the voting center in Pennsylvania, the massive voting center, we both concluded that they were going to try and steal the 2020 election. We felt that that's where it was headed. And I said, if that starts to happen in Georgia, we'll know they're going for Georgia too. Sure enough, it wasn't long before they announced the location at the State Farm Arena for a mega voting center. And not only was it that was the voting center in Fulton County, it was that they were employing the employees for the Hawks to help do that. And I don't know if y'all are aware, but LeBron James has a massive voting effort that may or may not be connected to Stacey Abrams. Y'all have heard about all the boondoggle with Stacey Abrams and all the money involved there. That was the beginning of me knowing that they were going to steal this election, not just from President Trump, but from all of us on the down ballot, in the down ballot races, particularly in Cobb, that were so important when it came to our commission chair, school board races, all the way down the ballot. So that's when I really got involved. The recount at Jim Miller Park was a disaster. That was no recount. After the first day, I went to the director of elections and I said, so can you please give me the totals for today? And she said, oh, we don't have that. I said, I just saw you counting ballots all day long. What do you mean you don't have it? She said, well, we put that into the computer system called Arlo, and then the Secretary of State tells us what the count was the next day. Okay, so we're wholly and completely relying on Brad Raffensperger to tell us what the counts are when we've stood there and watched you count all day. So I have a whole story about that. Then there was the ballot shredding incident that happened in Cobb, and my chasing the shredding truck incident. And I say that to say there is nothing that I won't do to ensure that we have fair elections in Georgia. I have worked on that exclusively. This most recently in the 2024 election, I had the privilege of working with the National Election Integrity Team for Georgia. I worked very closely with Senator David Perdue. Some people say, well, Senator Perdue didn't fight. Well, I think sometimes things happen, and that normalcy bias makes us go, are they really doing that? And you got to have a minute to wrap your head around it. Just like when I saw the shredding truck and I saw them shredding, ballot envelopes and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, surely the FBI is going to roll up here at any moment and, stop this, or they're going to want to examine the contents, but nobody ever came. So sometimes it takes a minute to realize what's going on. So election integrity is my thing. Most recently, I had a election integrity rule change, and I had to be in Florida, in Miami, for a work event. And how many people have watched election board meetings? Okay, so you know how they go on and on and on, and sometimes if it goes into the next day, because they go through these cases, and we're still hearing cases from 2020. That should not be happening. We should have dealt with 2020 already, and justice should have already been done from 2020, but instead, we're still having to hear that. So as far as the election board goes, I'm very proud to have been a part of getting Ed Lindsay off the election board. That was a huge, huge coup. Ed Lindsay is a lobbyist. He should have never been on the board to begin with. Matt Mashburn, we finally got Matt Mashburn off the board, and we have got a trio of amazing people on the state election board now who are doing the right things, but then we get blocked all the time from the Secretary of State's office. There's just not enough hours in the day, and I know James doesn't want me to get up here and talk all day about that, but there's so much work to be done on that issue. As far as Representative Charlize Byrd in the Freedom Caucus, I love her. She is amazing. There's not a time that I don't text her or call her with a question that she is not right there. I work very closely with Mallory Staples. I love Mallory. We have a show every Wednesday from 8:30 to 9:30 where we collaborate and we put out information for people to know. And so I'm very proud of that and what she does. So you're lucky in Cherokee County to have somebody like Charlize. So I hope you appreciate her and honor her every chance you get. So James is doing the code that I do, which is you get up and you kind of start walking towards the podium. So I hear you, James. I decided I am term limited out in Cobb County. I cannot run again, but I have been able to influence change on the state party level as being the over 80 chair. I'm hoping that James Dvorak will be your next over 80 chair. And I am hoping that he will be on the state executive committee. That is why I'm running for the first vice chair position, is because I want to continue to bring truth and transparency. I want the grassroots to have as much of a seat at the table as they're wanting to have. And I want to see greater involvement on the state level from everybody. So that's why I'm running for first vice chair. I'm not good at campaigning for myself, but I would appreciate your vote. If you go to the state convention, I would love for you to support me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Salleigh. Thank you very much. Or Madam Chair, I'm sorry. Thank you, Madam Chair.